So with the 2023 general election less than 7 months away, there's tension brewing between the Independent National Electoral Commission and its Resident Electoral Commissioners. At the root of the matter now are reports that some recs aren't happy with INEC's decision to do away with results of party primaries that they monitored and replace the names of candidates who emerged from those primaries with names of persons who didn't participate in the process or persons who were defeated during the exercise. Reacting to this, INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, says he isn't aware that the Commission is at loggerheads with its recs. According to him, recs operate on a delegated authority, and so INEC reserves the right to take certain decisions without recourse to the recs, whom he says aren't recognized by the Constitution as members of INEC. And these remarks have been generating reactions. So let's bring in now a senior advocate of Nigeria and human rights activist, Michael Zekome, senior advocate of Nigeria, to help make sense of this twists in INEC. Thank you very much, Leonard Silk, for joining us at this time. But let's first establish your position on who recs are under the Constitution and under the Electoral Act as amended of 2022, since Mr. Okoye is saying they aren't members of INEC.
No, I think if you ask me, by way of status, I think Festus Okoye is wrong, and wrong. And I will give reasons why. It seems to undermine and underrate the position of resident electoral commissioners as against the 12 national commissioners and the chairman. First, let me start by saying that the INEC was itself created under Section 153 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1999 as one of the federal executive bodies. Other executive bodies created with INEC are the Code of Conduct Bureau, the National Population Commission, the Federal Character Commission, the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, the Council of States, the National Security Council, the National Defense Council, the National Judicial Council, the Federal Judicial Service Commission, the Federal Civil Service, and such other federal executive bodies to carry out certain specific functions. INEC, by virtue of that Section 153, was created specially as a federal body to be in charge of monitoring, organizing, and supervising elections for Nigeria. Because holding of elections is one of the greatest agents of democracy, which was defined on the 19th of November, 1863, by Abraham Lincoln during his Gettysburg speech as government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So, having established the framework, the legal, the constitutional organogram as to how INEC itself is going to be, the question is, who are these members of INEC? Does INEC operate as a ghost, as a spirit? The answer is no. INEC is an inanimate object. So, Section 14, subsection 1 of Part 1 to the 3rd schedule of the Constitution creates INEC to be made up of the chairman and 12 commissioners, will they be able to do this job alone? No. Because of that, the same constitution, the same section 14 in part 1 to the 3rd schedule, but this time under subsection 3, immediately creates Resident Electoral Commissioners for all the states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory. And by virtue of section 2, subsection 3 of the Constitution, we have 36 states in Nigeria, 774 local government areas, and the Federal Capital Territory. Thus, it is the same section 14 of part 1 to the 3rd schedule that created INEC chairman and the 12 commissioners, that also created the 36 resident electoral commissioners for 36 states and 1 for the FCT. In other words, all of them drink from the same stream. They breathe the same oxygen. They came to life by constitutional imprimatur. None of them by an act of parliament, but all of them by constitutional creation. How then can you say that the 12 national commissioners and the chairman are superior to the resident electoral commissioners because section 15, subsection 8 says the commission shall delegate powers to the resident commissioners? Of course, having been recognized and created by the Constitution, they must go and do jobs in states. And what is their job? It is to monitor, organize, and supervise elections in those states in which each of them is posted to. Because the 12 national commissioners and the chairman are more like bureaucrats, like administrative officers that hold the headquarters together, who are their eyes on the ground. It is the resident electoral commissioners. They know where the shoe pinches. They know the traits of the people. They know the terrain of the people. They know how elections are organized. They know the riverine areas, the valleys, the hills. Not the 12 national commissioners and the chairman who are resident in Abuja. Question. Can you now, therefore, discard of reports made by people who are on the ground? The answer is no. We have a proverb in my place. I speak Afema Esako. I'm from Ijukwe, a village near Agenebode. And we put it like this. Ese no yo ugwa, open no yo ugwa, lo ugwa no yo ato, ese yo ugude. What does it mean? It is the rat inside the house that informed the rat outside that there's fish inside the pot. So it sounds contradictory, a major illogicality, that electoral commissioners appointed with you by the same section of the Constitution to go to their states to monitor elections, that you can discard their activities, the results of what they have monitored, and say, you are sending people down from Abuja to go and monitor. That will be Fuji House of Commotion. There will be cataclysm. There will be problems. So look at the Constitution there.
Okay, the question that really comes out of this is that why did the Constitution or the Electoral Act make that distinction in the first place, mentioning the commissioners as separate from the recs? Why did it do that? And the other corollary question is that by Okoye speaking like that, is it not in danger of removing the federal element to electoral process?
Yes, I agree with you totally. I agree with you totally. To me, it seems to me like an in-house fight, which is like a schism, a division within the house. And you know, a house divided against itself cannot stand. In fact, the resident electoral commissioners have more stringent criteria imposed on them under Section 14 of the Constitution and Section 4 of the Federal Character Act. What do they say? They are saying their appointments shall satisfy the federal character in such a way that no part of the country should feel marginalized. That is why you have the 36 commissioners and FCT. Now, if you look at Section 29, subsection 1, it says political parties shall have primaries, and the results of these primaries must be transmitted to the commission. And the results must be results that emanate from valid primaries. Valid primaries. Who monitors these primaries to determine whether they are valid or not? It is the resident electoral commissioner that monitored the primaries with officials sent from the commission's headquarters with ad hoc staff like youth corpers and such persons. They monitor these primaries. They have to ensure that valid results emerge from these primaries. It is this valid results that they send to the commission at the headquarters. No more, no less. They are the people who have to show what results are valid. Under Section 29, subsection 5, any aspirant who complains that a primary from which a candidate has emanated or emerged from which a candidate has emerged, is not valid, can go to court, under that section, INEC, within not later than 180 days to the election of those candidates, has to display a list of all the candidates in the constituency of that area, candidates who must have emerged from a valid primary, to show the power of INEC. Because my worry is that I'm seeing INEC trying very hard to defang itself, to remove its own power that the Constitution and the Electoral Act have given to them. A political party that submits names of candidates, under Section 29, subsection 8, candidates who have not emerged from a valid primary, is to be fined 10 million naira for doing that. Meaning that the resident electoral commissioners that conducted these primaries, who have seen that certain candidates have emerged improperly, we tell the headquarters, we monitor this election. We know the candidates that emerge validly. Those ones you are seeing parading themselves being paraded by that political party that has the special code to send names to you, to forward names to you of their candidates. Those names are fake. In fact, find that political party, 10 million naira, under section 29, subsection 8. It is the duty of the resident electoral commissioner, no other person. Then what happens? To show the powers of INEC, which they never had before now, the powers of the commission. Under section 29, subsection 13. Under section 29, subsection 13 of the same constitution, INEC can reject primaries, candidates that have emerged from primaries that they consider invalid as adjudged by the resident commissioner. Go again to section 84 of the Constitution. Section 84, subsection 13. INEC has the power to also reject candidates that have emerged from invalid primaries. And candidates themselves can also go to court under section 84, subsection 14, to challenge any other aspirant whom they feel have not emerged properly. So the national headquarters of INEC, comprising of the chairman and the 12 commissioners, cannot do more than listening carefully to their eyes on ground. Those people who know where the roof leaks, those people who monitor the elections, those people who supervise the elections, those people who administer the elections, who therefore knew what happened. And then you say you are ignoring them. And you want to follow results purportedly given to you by people you said you sent. Sent from where? From the moon? To go and do what?
All right.
So, to me, that shows an in-house fight between the chairman and the 12 resident national commissioners on the one hand, and the 36 or 37 resident electoral commissioners, which is not good in this very delicate position. I'll give you an example. They are trying to defang and render prostrate the resident electoral commissioners and make them ineffective. And I say, to me, you are placing them, they who were appointed with you by Mr. President. President appoints all of them, swears all of them, send the name to the Senate. And the Senate must confirm all of them by two-thirds majority vote. And all of them have the same tenure of office. They have the same qualifications. They are subject to the same disqualifications. And they are subject to be removed from office by the same Senate with two-thirds majority votes, showing parity of powers, that none is superior to the other. So if you now say that because these people were posted to various states, and you say, we are now telling you, go to all those various states, go and monitor the elections under section 15, subsection 8 of part 1 of the third schedule. It becomes a contradiction in term to say a delegate of power, the person you have given powers to go and do the job. He now does the job and says, this is the job I've done. You say, oh, I'm not going to agree with you. It is like, look at it, for example, section 214 and 215 of the Constitution create the Nigerian Police Force. Specifically, section 214 creates the Inspector General of Police and the Commissioner of Police under the same section, like the INEC, like the 12 INEC national commissioners and the chairman, and the 36 resident commissioners and FCT resident commissioner. That is how section 214 of the Constitution creates the Inspector General of Police, and Commissioner of Police. The argument of Mr. Okoye, my very good friend, if followed to its logical conclusion, would be this. The Inspector General of Police, who knows that he has commissioners of police in all the 36 states and one in FCT, and the Commissioner of Police have followed up a crime. They have monitored the crime, investigated it, and sent the results to the Inspector General of Police. The Inspector General of Police said, no, I don't want to follow your report. I don't know what you are doing. I want to send special people from the headquarters to go and find out what actually happened there. So it becomes a contradiction in terms that a person you say you have delegated power to, who has done your job for you, that you are not following what the person has said.
So, High Chief, would you frankly say that this is perhaps a blatant abuse of office or powers, or a case of alleged compromise by the electoral umpire? That's on the one hand. I would also like to hear your thoughts on probably the genesis also of the controversies, because this, of course, was brought to the fore by the audacious Mike Igini, who had said that these persons risk jail time or conviction. He had cited Section 115D of the Electoral Act 2022. So I'm just wondering, the likes of distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan, the Senate President, Dave Umayo of Ebonyi State, Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, Godswill Akpabio of Akwa Ibom State, Cross River State Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, I'm wondering, are these big wigs not aware of what the law says, or are they above the laws?
Well, Section 115 of the Electoral Act makes it clear that a person shall not subscribe to 2 nominations or 2 elections at the same time. I think what is going on is more political than legal. That is the way I see it. I don't want to use such strong words or strong phrases as abuse of office. But I think what is playing out is a political party preferring a particular candidate as against the candidate that genuinely emerged from a valid primary in accordance with Section 29 of the Electoral Act. I think that is what is playing out. For example, the case of Ahmad Lawan, we all saw it. It was live on television when he contested for the presidency of this country. Then one Mr. Machina, a lawyer, contested for the Senate. And the Constitution, the Electoral Act says that it is only a candidate that can voluntarily withdraw his candidature by saying, although I had emerged from this primary, I no longer want to go. And he has to do that by writing a letter and swearing to an affidavit and sending them to INEC headquarters to say, I have voluntarily withdrawn from this primary which I had won. If the candidate refuses, like in the case of Mr. Machina, then Lawan cannot say he is the same candidate after he had contested the presidential election. The fact that what is playing out is that it is only the political party chairman that has a special code given to him or her to upload the name of candidates that have emerged. So what they are doing is to send to INEC the name of a candidate who did not even participate at all in the primaries to say, this is our candidate. Whereas Section 29 makes it clear that the candidate that that political party must forward must have emerged from a valid primary. And indeed, Section 29, subsection 8, imposed a fine on that political party of a fine of 10 million naira to say, if you deceive us and send us a name of a candidate that has not emerged from a valid primary, you will be fined 10 million naira. So if you look at it, it is the electoral commissioners, the resident electoral commissioners, like Mr. Mike Igini, who monitored that of Akwa Ibom State. Results were uploaded. Elections took place. Primaries took place. And it is taken, the results are compiled together and sent to INEC headquarters and say, this was what we monitored. These are the results of the primaries we monitored. INEC is saying, no, we will not follow you. We don't agree with you. We are going to look for other results because that is what the political party is telling us, that these are the results. And Mike Igini said, hello, I didn't monitor those ones. I don't know what you are talking about. It's our duty here to monitor elections, to monitor primaries. We have monitored the primaries. These are the results. So how can the commission headquarters, INEC headquarters, be rejecting results given to them after a valid primary by its own delegates, according to them, which they are very proud of, to say that the resident electoral commissioners are their delegates. They delegated them. Beautiful. Let us agree with you that you delegated them. Forget about the fact that they drink from the same oxygen with you, that they were created with you under the same constitution, same tenure of office, same qualifications under sections 155, 156, 157 of the Constitution. Let us say they are your delegates. Can you now ignore the message that your messenger, if you want to look at them as your messengers, are giving to you as to say, this is what happens? This is why in my write-up yesterday, which has gone viral, I have done 2 of it in the last 1 week. In one, I said, why is INEC recklessly fighting to be neckless? Why is INEC recklessly fighting to be neckless? My second write-up is titled, Are Resident Electoral Commissioners Classless Bats? Bat, that bird, B-A-T-S. Do you know why I use that analogy? That apothegm. The bat seems to be a hermaphrodite. He belongs to neither the bird's kingdom nor the animal's kingdom. Yet he belongs to both of them. The bat had gone to the animal kingdom to tell them, I am one of you. And the animal said, no, you can't be one of us. You are a bat, you are a bird, you fly. How can you be one of us? The bat said, you want me to show you? Look at my pinna, my ears. If you look at the bat, the ears are like that of a human being. He said, look at my teeth. If you look at the dentition of a bat, the canines, the incisors, the molars, and the premolars, they are like that of a human being. And then the bat shocked the animals more. He said, look at my mammary glands. The bat actually has breast, mammary glands, like a woman. So the animals looked at him and said, we believe you. You are one of us. Stay with us. A little while later, after he had been admitted, the bat went to the bird's kingdom.
All right.
I told the birds, I'm one of you. The bird said, how can you say that? You can't be one of us. We saw you, you were gathered with the animals, and you are one of them. The bird said, me? I'm one of you. What is your greatest quality? It is that you fly. Let us fly and see who flies faster than the other. And the birds engaged in a flight with a bat, and the bat even flew faster than them. So he belonged neither to the animal kingdom nor to the bird's kingdom, more like a hermaphrodite. So if you are saying a resident electoral commissioner is not a part and parcel of your community because it's not one of the 12 national commissioners and the chairman, then you are also saying You don't recognize his job, which he has done as a constitutionally appointed Resident Electoral Commissioner, whom you call your delegate under Section 15H of Part 1 to the 3rd Schedule.
Right.
Then who is the Resident Electoral Commissioner? What is he doing there?
All right.
Why did the Constitution appoint him?
On that
What did the Constitution
that
say?
you have
The
established,
12 National Electoral Commissioners and the chairman should do the whole job.
Leonard
Why
Silk,
does the Constitution, after allowing an executive president to be elected, why
Leonard
does the
Silk,
same Constitution
on
say
that premise that you
the
have
president must
established,
appoint ministers,
seeing as
a
we've run
government
out of
must appoint
time,
commissioners?
Leonard
It is
Silk.
because they know that president cannot do that alone.
Leonard Silk, let's also
So
have
the
some
president
more
cannot
time to
appoint a minister
explore other
and begin to
issues.
usurp the functions and duties of that minister.
Can you
It's
hear
a
me now?
contradiction in terms.
Can you hear me, Leonard Silk?
I no longer hear.
All right. Let me try again. I wanted to ask and know where this controversy in the INEC, where it leaves the majority of Nigerians, especially seeing as Professor Okoye himself has said that no candidate has flouted that specific section 115 subsection D. Can you hear that question? Can you answer that? We'll try to reconnect with Leonard, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Michael Ozekoma. It seems we just lost our connection with him. And of course, he has stated his stance on the issue, saying as he doesn't agree with Mr. Festus Okoye on this position that RECs are in members, constitutional members of INEC. And this also seems to reflect with an earlier stance by our guest on Wednesday,
Yes.
Professor Paul Ananaba, on
yeah.
this move.
And
And I
many other
think
legal
it's-
practitioners, indeed.
And
Right.
in fact, you used a very interesting word there. I don't want to say it's an abuse of office, and that is
And that is exactly what he said.
All
All
right,
right,
well,
Leonard,
he's
so
back.
did you
All right.
hear my last question? Let me just ask. I was
No,
asking.
I did it.
I was
It's now
asking.
I'm back again.
Right. It's good to have you back. Most grateful. I wanted to know where this
Yeah.
controversy in INEC now leaves Nigeria, especially with Nigerians' expectations that INEC will remain as unbiased as it can be without political interference, even though Professor Okoye has said that no candidate flouted Section 115, subsection D of the Electoral Act as amended.
The only way they can know, I'm not hearing again. You do something about this. Hello?
Carry on. We can hear you.
we can hear
We can
you.
hear you.
Carry on,
on.
please.
Hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
carry
we can
on.
hear you.
The
can hear
only
you, please.
way, the only way the commission at the headquarters can know what happened in the states is by relying on the results given to them by the resident electoral commissioners. They cannot manufacture their own result. In fact, they should find those political parties that uploaded names or that sent names of candidates that the electoral commissioners, like the professor in Kano, for example, who says the name you are sending is not the one we that participated. Sani Abacha's son won these primaries in the full glare of the public. Clear glass. The whole world monitored it. You are sending another name of a person who did not participate. INEC should wield the big stick under section 84, subsection 13, to refuse to accept the names of that political party. And he did impose the fine under section 29, subsection 8, which is 10 million naira. So they should quickly go back to the drawing board, knowing that Nigerians are already weary and worried about whether we are actually practicing real democracy, whether democracy can still come through the ballot box and the ballot paper entering the ballot box. And the only way you can determine this is that those who are entrusted with the sacred duty of midwifery this democracy have to be seen to do their jobs impartially and independently. So when you now find the commission at the headquarters appearing to be at war with the resident electoral commissioners, then there is a problem here.
Now,
Because a house divided against
can you
itself
hear me?
shall not stand. It
Okay.
will be a schism, an implosion, which can self-destruct and self-immolate. I
Can you hear
advise INEC to quickly call a meeting of all the resident electoral commissioners and the 12 national commissioners, presided over by the chairman, to quickly find a solution to this apparent in-house schism so that dirty linens are not washed in the public.
Now, I want you to quickly answer this question. Okay, tried to make a distinction between aspirant and candidate and said that the candidate cannot commit that kind of offense because it's already a product of primaries. Yet, the section 155 says that you cannot fill multiple forms. When you become a candidate, you cannot fill a form because you're already a candidate. So why is there a confusion in the Constitution?
There's no confusion. They are all.
Or what is it saying? Because it has to be resolved. Because you cannot be a party nominee and go and fill double forms because you're already there. It's like saying that you have already crossed, you have already won the competition like Amuson, and then you are going back to run again.
You cannot be a party candidate and fail, right?
Let me tell you. The Electoral Act was clever enough. The new Electoral Act is better than the last one. This one was clever enough to talk about the nomination and selection of an aspirant, that is, an aspirant being nominated and selected to be a candidate. And it is the resident electoral commissioners that are in charge of this selection or nomination or election of these aspirants to become candidates. You cannot become a candidate except you have been an aspirant. You could not have aspired to be president and at the same time simultaneously aspired to be a senator. One thing is good in this is that the same Electoral Act allows that aspirant who won the primaries, who emerged from valid primaries in accordance with Section 29, to say, I am withdrawing voluntarily. Here is my sworn affidavit. Here is my letter to you, Commission. I don't want to go again. But where the aspirant says, no, I have emerged from the valid primaries monitored by the REC as the candidate, I cannot yield. INEC should be strong enough to punish that political party for even uploading the name of a person that now calls himself a candidate who was never an aspirant in that position. And that political party should be fined 10 million naira under Section 29, subsection 8 of the Electoral Act.
All right.
So I do not see the confusion here.
Okay.
For you to be a candidate, you have to be an aspirant. You cannot be a reverend father without first passing through the minor and major seminaries.
Right.
You cannot say you are a graduate
All right.
if you did not pass through the tertiary institution.
Leonard Silk,
So
Mike Ozekome.
one has to take place first before the other. An aspirant is whom turns into a candidate. There can be no candidate who was never an aspirant. And an aspirant is determined by the resident electoral commissioner
Leonard
as to
Silk and
whether
High
he
Chief
actually
Michael
emerged from a
Zekome.
valid primary or
Your
not.
points are very much noted and well appreciated. We thank you very much for speaking with us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, High Chief.
So,
Yes,
so
thank
yes,
you very much.
the law.
Sam,
Right. Thank you again, Leonard Silk. The points are well noted, and of course the law is clear. So it then behoves on INEC to help make help, because now we are having an alarming number of cases in court, on this stance, this controversial stance of INEC.
Yes, I was just going to quickly mention that I wonder why Mr. INEC chairman is silent about this issue.
Eventually, we'll talk about
he would
it.
need to speak to Nigerians about these issues. Yeah. And, we saw an election in Ekiti. We saw an election in Osun State. Nigerians, over the years, have lost faith in the process. We keep referring to the June 1993 elections as the most free and fair and credible. So one would wonder, now that Nigerians are beginning to reach out for their PVCs and they are ready for 2023, just how will this affect the 2023 elections?
All right. Gentlemen, that will be all on TVC Breakfast at this point. We do hope that we'll talk more about this and, of course, help Nigerians to make more sense of these happenings that will guide their decisions during the 2023 elections.